Many years ago, in the quiet town of Ishiagu, there lived a calm and beautiful woman named Njideka. She was married to Uche, the only son of his parents. They had been married for 15 years and were blessed with 4 lovely daughters. But despite their blessings, Njideka's heart was heavy. Uche's mother, her mother-in-law, was a difficult woman who made life miserable for her. "Njideka," she would shout, "if you don't give us a son in this house, there will be no one to carry on the family name. I cannot bear that shame. Oh. You will have to go back to your father's house with your daughters and allow my son marry someone that will bear him an heir." Njideka tried everything she could to have a son, to no avail. For her second and third pregnancy, she had worked closely with doctors to track her ovulation and plan her pregnancies. But even after all the efforts, her babies turned out to be girls. When she was pregnant with her fourth child, a friend took her to a herbalist who gave her a bitter black drink, promising it would make her next child a boy. Yet again, it was a girl. Years went by and Njideka struggled to conceive again. She went through 2 failed IVF treatments and spent many nights crying and praying. Finally, after 7 long years, she was pregnant again. This time, she pinned all her hopes on having a son. One morning, when she was 6 months pregnant, Njideka sat in the hospital waiting room for her antenatal checkup. Other pregnant women were chatting and laughing about their different pregnancy cravings, mother-in-laws, and their family life. But the woman sitting next to Njideka looked sad. "What's wrong?" Njideka asked gently. The woman held a crumpled paper and began to cry. "I'm having another boy," she said. Njideka was confused. "Why are you sad? Isn't it good news?" The woman shook her head. "I used to have a girl, my Chidinma. She was my second child and my only daughter. But she died when she was just 3 years old. She fell down the stairs while playing. At first, we thought she was fine. But, that night, she started convulsing. By the time we got to the hospital, it was too late. The doctor said she had an internal bleeding." Njideka listened quietly as the woman wiped her tears. "I've tried and tried to have another girl, but all I've had are boys. This is my 5th boy. I can't even bring myself to give away Chidima's clothes. I just want another daughter. I wish I could have a daughter." Njideka's heart ached for the woman, but she couldn't help but think about her own struggle. "You have what I've been praying for, a boy," she said softly. I know there are women out there praying for boys," she replied. "And I'm not downplaying the fact that I need to be grateful. But my boys are just like their father, violent and aggressive. I really believe that if I had a girl, it would shape their lives," she said. Njideka looked at her, her mind reeling in disbelief. She didn't come to terms with what the woman had said. After a few hours, when she met the doctor, she was sent for a scan. She had avoided scans throughout her pregnancy, afraid of what the results would reveal. But as she opened the result and saw XX on the paper, her heart sank in despair. Another girl. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the woman in the waiting room. What if they could trade their burdens? The idea seemed impossible at first, but the more Njideka thought about it, the more it made sense to her. Maybe they could swap their babies. She would give her the girl of her dreams and take the son she didn't want. She lay awake, planning and strategizing on how she how she would convince the woman that it was a great idea. Weeks passed and Njideka couldn't shake the idea off. At the next appointment, she arrived really early, scanning the crowd for the woman. Days turned into weeks and still she didn't see her. Her well thought out plan began to wane and replacing it sorrow. She had already informed her mother-in-law that she was having a baby boy. And the woman who used to be cruel had since then treated her like a princess. She would cook, clean and take care of the house, stating that she didn't want anything to happen to her grandson. Njideka couldn't find the courage to go and inform her it was all a lie. She prayed desperately that she would find Ijeoma. It wasn't until the 9th month, during a lively maternity dance meant to encourage labour, that Njideka finally spotted her. Ijeoma! Njideka called out, rushing to catch up with her. The woman turned. Oh, it's you, the one with 4 girls. Njideka smiled nervously. Yes, and you're the one with 4 boys. I have something to tell you, she said in hushed tones as the music played in the background. I have an idea. Ijeoma raised an eyebrow. What kind of idea? Njideka hesitated, then said, let's swap our babies. You want a girl, right? And I need a boy. We can each help each other. Ijeoma gasped. Are you serious? That's crazy. You said it yourself, Njideka replied. You wish you could have a daughter, so the pain of your grief will be less. And I can't face my mother-in-law with another girl, not after I've lied to her. She continued persuasively. Please, think about it, Njideka pleaded. Finally, after speaking for some minutes, Ijeoma finally agreed. The two women planned thoroughly how they were going to execute the plan without getting anyone involved, even their husbands. They also spoke about taking things to induce pregnancy so they will have their babies at the same time. On the day the babies were born, the two women agreed to stay in the same room. They had convinced a nurse who worked with them in the execution of their plan. The babies were swapped quietly that night. The act, witnessed only by the nurse who had worked with them. They walked out of the hospital with babies that weren't their own, believing they had finally found the happiness they were searching for. Njideka and Uche named their son Chijioke, while Ijeoma named her daughter Kamsi. Njideka had finally gotten her wish for a son, and for the first few years, little Chijioke was the light of her life. Uche was overjoyed to have an heir, and Njideka's mother-in-law had softened her once sharp tongue. But as Chijioke grew, things began to change. By the time he was 10, Chijioke had developed a disturbing habit of taking things that didn't belong to him. At first, it was small items, his classmates' pencils, his sister's toys, but as he got older, his thefts became more brazen. He stole money, jewelry, and even goods from neighbors. His actions brought shame to the family, and people in the community began to whisper about Njideka's precious son. Njideka tried everything: prayers, punishments, and even deliverance sessions with pastors, but nothing worked. Chijioke's stealing only got worse. When he turned 19, things took a devastating turn. He broke into Uche's company one night and stole a large sum of money from the office safe. The theft was discovered, and Uche, being the father of the culprit, was held responsible. He was dismissed from the company he had spent decades helping to build. The family's finances crumbled. Uche fell into depression, and Njideka was consumed by guilt. They struggled to make ends meet until their eldest daughter, Adaeze, who had just graduated from university, secured a job. Adaeze took up the role of provider, supporting her parents and younger sisters. But even as the family fought to rebuild their lives, Chijioke's behavior became unbearable. His kleptomania spiraled out of control even as Njideka's mother-in-law health started to decline. The family did everything they could to care for her. One evening, Mama was admitted to the hospital where she was placed on a portable defibrillator, a machine which they used to stabilize her heart whenever it stopped. Njideka and Uche visited her regularly, but Chijioke's behavior had only worsened. One fateful night, Chijioke visited her grandmother. He had been getting into the habit of stealing more valuable items, and this time he spotted the defibrillator next to the grandmother's bed. Desperate for money, he quickly unplugged it and made off with the device, knowing it could be sold for a very high price. Later that evening, Mama suffered a heart attack. The nurses rushed in, but when they tried to use the defibrillator, it was gone. By the time they found a replacement, it was too late. Mama had passed away. When the family learned that Chijioke had stolen the defibrillator, Njideka's world shattered. The woman who had pressured her for years to give birth to a son, the woman who had been the voice of tradition in their family, was gone, taken by the very child she had hoped would save them all. In the wake of Mama's death, Njideka was consumed by grief. She couldn't understand how things had gone so wrong. Chijioke was fast becoming a nightmare, and worse was that he even began associating with bad crowd. Njideka, once proud dreams of having a son, had turned into a grievous mistake. One evening, while Njideka and Adaeze was watching television, something caught their eye. A young woman was receiving a national award for excellence in academics and community service. Her name was Kamsi, and she had also been offered a prestigious international appointment. Njideka stared at the screen in shock. The lady's face was unmistakable, not just because of her striking resemblance to her sisters, but because of the unique birthmark on her cheek that all of them shared. Could it be? Nneka thought to herself, her heart racing. Unable to hold back, Njideka tracked down Ijeoma. She arrived at Ijeoma's mother's home, desperate to understand what had happened and to find a solution for Chijioke. Ijeoma greeted her with surprise, but quickly sensed the urgency in Njideka's tone. Ijeoma, Njideka began, her voice trembling. I need your help. I don't know what else to do about Chijioke. He's destroying our family. There is no day someone is not in our house screaming and shouting. I'm so tired of the shame and daily embarrassment. I don't know what to do. He stole a machine that was used to keep my mother-in-law alive. I have flogged, cancelled, advised, taken him to lots of places, including pastors, prophets. Yet, this problem is still persisting. I don't know what to do. I need your help, please. What do I do? Ijeoma looked away, her expression pained. Njideka, there's something I never told you, she said. Njideka frowned. What do you mean? Ijeoma hesitated before speaking, her words slow and deliberate. My late husband, before his death, he told me he was cursed. Cursed? What do you mean, and how does that concern Chijioke, my son? Well, when he was young, he stole something from a very helpless old woman. A family ring or something, I'm not sure. And in the woman's anger, she cursed him, declaring that his sons will all be thieves. At first, he didn't believe it. But when my eldest son turned 4, he started stealing. By the time the others came along, it was clear that the curse was real. Njideka gasped. But you agreed to give me Chijioke because you wanted a daughter. You You never told me anything about a curse. Tears welled in Ijeoma's eyes. Yes, yes, I did want a daughter, because I knew the curse won't affect her. And also because I knew I couldn't survive with 5 thieves in one house. When you shared your pain with me, I saw a way out. I thought maybe if Chijioke grew up in a different home, things might be different for him. But it seems the curse followed him no matter where he went. Njideka's knees went weak. What about your other sons? Where are they now? Ijeoma sighed heavily. 2 of them were killed during a robbery. The other 2 are in prison for violent crimes. Kamsi is the only light left in my life. She's the reason I'm still standing. The reason I'm still sane. The weight of Ijeoma's words crushed Njideka. The son she had traded everything for was now the source of her greatest sorrow, while the daughter she had given away was thriving, bringing joy and honor. Ijeoma, what do I do now? Njideka whispered, tears streaming down her face. Ijeoma placed a hand on her shoulder. The curse can't be broken, but perhaps Chijioke can still be helped. He needs more than just prayers. He needs professional help, counseling, maybe even rehabilitation. But Njideka, you need to face the truth. Chijioke isn't your only hope. Your daughters, they are your strength. Use them. As Njideka left Ijeoma's house, her heart was heavy with regret, but also with a glimmer of clarity. She had spent so long chasing a dream of what she thought her family needed that she overlooked the blessings right in front of her. It was time to fight for her family, not just for Chijioke, but for all of them. Njideka returned home, with her heart torn in two. The truth Ijeoma had revealed haunted her, but it also opened her eyes to the blessings she had ignored for so long. She gathered her daughters that evening, including Daisy, who had been the pillar of the family. For the first time in years, Njideka poured out her heart, apologizing for all the times she had overlooked their worth in her desperate quest for a son. You people are my true strength, she said through her tears. I see it now. Daisy, you've carried this family on your shoulders. Chiamaka, Oluchi, and Onyinyechi, you've brought me nothing but pride and joy. I am sorry for all the times I made you feel less than enough. Her daughters embraced her, their tears mingling with hers. For the first time in years, they felt like a family united, ready to face the challenges ahead together. But Chijioke was a storm that could not be ignored. Njideka knew that his kleptomania wasn't just a habit, it was a curse deeply rooted in the family's history. With Uche's support, she sought help for Chijioke. They enrolled him in therapy and rehabilitation, and though the process was slow and painful, they refused to give up on him. Months turned into years. Chijioke showed some improvement, but his journey was far from easy. The family's financial struggles persisted, but Adaize's unwavering dedication and her sister's support kept them afloat. One day, while watching the news, Njideka saw Kamsi again. This time, she was being honored internationally for her contributions to education and community development. Seeing her face so familiar yet so distant brought a bittersweet smile to Njideka's lips. Do you ever think about meeting her? Adaize asked gently. Njideka shook her head. She's where she belongs, Ada. Ijeoma raised her well. I wouldn't disrupt that. Not after everything. Adaize nodded, understanding the weight of her mother's decision. Kamsi was a beacon of light in her own right, but Njideka had finally realized that the family she had was enough. Years later, Njideka sat surrounded by her daughters and grandchildren. The pain of the past, a distant memory. Chijioke had moved to a different town and was living a quiet life, working with a pastor who had taken a special interest in guiding and mentoring him. Though he remained a work in progress, he had found some stability. Njideka had learned the hard way that life doesn't always turn out the way we plan, but she also learned that the greatest blessings often come from the people we least expect. As she watched her daughters laugh and play with their children, she whispered the prayer of gratitude. The weight of her wishes had once crushed her, but now it had lifted, replaced by the strength of unconditional love and acceptance. The end. Thank you for watching this emotional and thought provoking story. It's a tale that reminds us of unexpected twists life can take and the heavy price of chasing societal expectations at the expense of our own blessings. The story of Njideka teaches us some powerful lessons, one of which is that you have to appreciate what you have. Often, we are so focused on what we lack that we fail to see the treasures right in front of us. Njideka spent years yearning for a son, only to realize that her daughters were her greatest strength. Another lesson from this story is the breaking free from societal pressure. This story sheds light on how harmful societal and cultural expectations can be, especially when they dictate what's acceptable or important in a family. We must learn to value every child equally, regardless of gender or any other thing. Lastly, I would like to talk about recognizing true success. Kamsi's success was a testament to the fact that children, when nurtured and supported, can rise above any circumstances to achieve greatness. Life may not always go the way we plan, but our happiness lies in how we embrace the cards we are dealt with and find meaning in the blessings we have been given. Now I want to hear from you. What lessons did this story teach you? Have you ever felt the pressure of societal expectations and how did you overcome them? Let's keep this conversation going in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more inspiring and thought-provoking content. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. And remember this, happiness is not about having what you want, but appreciating what you have. Thank you again for being part of this journey. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.